Hey, you ready for the video?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Somebody else's or yours?
I mostly rocked with what he said. Not really in… Actually, that's such a lie. I thought it was interesting. I liked the part where he was talking about…
Conscious practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
Ellen.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
How to deal with toxic personality.
My name is Vish. I'm an aspiring yogi. Love all things meditation, yoga, and wisdom based. Super grateful to have Ellen on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ellen. I'm a third-year Plan 2 honors and rhetoric and writing major. I'm from Dallas.
Now, before we start the video, have you heard of this guru named Sadhguru before?
No.
Okay. And what is your quick thought on toxic personality? What does that mean to you?
I guess it's like someone who sort of gets in the way of you sort of focusing on yourself and doing what you need to do. It's hard to explain, but someone who's like, you're trying to do what you need to do, but like without getting in the way of others, and that the toxic person doesn't have regard for that. They're just trying to do what they're gonna do, and they might get in the way of others.
Thanks for sharing that. And I'd love to hear what you all think before we watch the video. Yeah, that's you right there watching, about what you think toxic personality means in the comments down below.
Okay.
And with that,
Let's get into the video.
When our people behave in unreasonable ways, they think spirits have taken over. That's why they never get straightened out. The first step that you need to see is this. You don't know where it is, but it acts up all the time, isn't it? If you see this, the moments of horror will go down by itself. You don't have to do anything. Somebody else's or yours? Somebody else's or yours? Oh, in a moment we can handle it. If you just show me where it is, I'll just shoot it right away. Where is it? How do you know it's there? Maybe you're just nasty. No. See, it's like this. Whenever you behave in a pleasant manner… What's your name? Huh? Balyan? Bayan? Okay. Whenever you behave in a pleasant manner, you're Bayan. Whenever you behave in an unpleasant manner, it is Mr. Ego. It's a sure way to deceive yourself for the rest of your life. You just have to see. This is Isha Yoga. You just have to see. If you're pleasant, it's you. If you're unpleasant, it's you. If you see this, you wouldn't like the unpleasant part of who you are. You'll deal with it. There's nothing to deal with it. Are you unpleasant right now? No, you just have to stay like this, that's all. It doesn't take anything, it just takes free breathing, that's all, to be pleasant. Does it take some other commodity to become pleasant? No, just oxygen, that's all. Only when oxygen is scarce body can become unpleasant. Otherwise you can sit here and die pleasantly, you know. Really. Tell me, what other ingredient do you need to be pleasant? Nothing. No, it is only because you think there is some other entity which makes you unpleasant, like ego. It is just like saying, I'm possessed. When our people behave in unreasonable ways, they think spirits have taken over. No, they don't want to see that they're unreasonable people. That's why they never get well. That's why they never get straightened out. The first step that you need to see is this. If I'm pleasant, it's me. If I'm unpleasant, it's me. If I'm wonderful, it's me. If I'm horrible, it's me. If you see this, you will stamp out the horror quite efficiently. You can't stay with it for too long. Because it is another spirit called ego. It's an elf called ego. It goes on and on and on endlessly. See, this is a very good trick. You asked a question about ego. Now I ask you, where is it? You say, I don't know. It's a damn good trick. You don't know where it is, but it acts up all the time, isn't it? So it's a trick. There is no ego, there is just you. Sometimes pleasant, sometimes unpleasant, sometimes beautiful, sometimes horrible. If you see this, the moments of horror will go down by itself. You don't have to do anything. You just don't have to do anything. If you see it's me who is being horrible, it will start going down. You think I'm horrible because of my ego or usually because of somebody. It'll never ever go down. You will remain horror the rest of your life. Or maybe beyond. And maybe beyond, you may find employment in hell. That is one good thing about being horrible. If you torture yourself efficiently and everybody around you, they may give you employment in hell. In heaven, there is no employment because there's nothing to do. They won't choose me for employment in hell. I really have to get hard with people, maybe then they will, but you'll find employment. If you don't stop deceiving yourself with this ego business, it's better to be unemployed in hell, I'm telling you. Everybody will be good if you're unemployed in hell, isn't it? So please, don't start practicing here for employment in hell. Don't start practicing unpleasantness here because you think you're practicing for employment in future. After death at least, let's have a vacation. Lot of work right now. People who have nothing to do right now or people who are refusing to do anything worthwhile right now are seeking employment after death. No, do everything that you have to do now. After death, let's have a vacation. You must be so pleasant and useless that nobody should give you a job out there.
So Ellen, what are your first thoughts and first take after watching that video?
I thought it was interesting. I liked the part where he was talking about, like the ego is not you, or like or trying to separate your ego from yourself and saying like, oh, that's just the ego acting up. But like, no, if you're pleasant, it's you. If you're unpleasant, it's you. And just like embracing that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point you made because I'll be honest, even previous to this video, I used to blame it on the ego, right? If it's, something I didn't like about myself and what I did, I'm like, oh, it's the ego. But then when it's something nice, as he says, I was like, oh yeah, it's me, right? We tend to make that unconscious distinction. Now, remind me your background again. You said you're rhetoric and what's your major?
Rhetoric and writing and Plan 2, which is like an honors thing. Okay,
so with that being said, is ego ever talked about in rhetoric and that subject matter?
Not really in… Actually, that's such a lie. We didn't really talk about ego, but I took a class on the rhetoric of Zen Buddhism, so that like sort of dealt with the self, but I took a class that was like within the sociology department that talked a lot about the ego, that was like social transformation of love and relationships, and that talks a lot about the ego.
So how would you define it from the experience you've had, from whether it's the classes or just what you know in general? Maybe there's no right or wrong answer per se here, but just how would you define the ego?
My understanding of it, from what I've learned, is that it's sort of this like sense of identity that we form and like attach to, but like sort of choose when we identify with, if that makes sense.
Like he was saying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective on that term. And what's your take with this whole idea of what he was saying, which was, I guess the suggestion that I kind of got out of this was that we need to take ownership and responsibility, right, for both sides of the coin of ourselves, whether it's the pleasantness or the unpleasantness. Would you agree with that, or what are your thoughts here?
I agree completely. I think everyone should take accountability for what they do, and I also don't think that people are wholly good or wholly bad, so we shouldn't try to act like we are.
That's a great point. I think being, what's the word, like virtue, like I forget the exact term, but like basically, yeah, I agree with you on that point. And no one's really quote unquote perfect here, although we can strive to be, right? Now, were there any parts of the video that you didn't understand or you didn't agree with or had slightly different views on?
Not really. I mostly rocked with what he said.
Okay. What about his whole take with, he was talking about heaven and hell and like taking your, I think it was the job or something. Did you understand that part towards the end?
It was getting a little iffy towards the end.
With what you agreed with or what you understood?
What I understood.
I'll be honest, a little along the same lines, although I think what he was trying to say at the end was, I think a lot of us, and actually before I get into that, do you have a religious background at all?
Oh yeah, I was raised Catholic. I'm not like practicing anymore, but.
Well, how would you define your religion or whatever beliefs now?
I do believe in God, but I don't affiliate with any organized religion.
Okay, so just more on your own.
Yeah.
Do you pray?
I think it's sort of. I think I believe in God in the higher power sense, but also like the God within all of us, and that's like the closest I can come to defining
Okay,
it.
so almost like an agnostic type, but you also think that there's God everywhere within us?
Yeah, almost in like it's like sort of Buddhist adjacent. I think God is everywhere within us.
Okay, I love that perspective. And the reason I guess I bring that up is because basically in this specific video, he was talking about, I think, people taking their commitments or jobs after they die. And I think he was kind of mocking it because I think the key here is that a lot of us tend to, and not to attack or say that other religions or views are bad, but I think what he was just really trying to share here was that a lot of us tend to export our problems to the afterlife, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So if you do something bad, we're like, oh, you'll get punished in hell. And if you do something great, it's like, oh yeah, you'll get rewarded in heaven. But I think the key here is to, again, take responsibility not for whatever happens after death, but to take responsibility over whatever's happening now. Does that make more sense now?
That does make more sense.
Okay, perfect.
I agree with the message.
Okay. Sweet. Now, what's your quick take on the guru itself? You said that you've never seen him before, right? So now that you've got a chance to see him, honest thoughts on him in terms of the way he spoke or what he said?
I liked him. He seemed very, like, what he said made sense to me, and I generally agreed with it, and he seemed kind of funny and fun.
I like that tone. I connect with that point because he gets asked a lot of serious questions, like, for example, how do you deal with a toxic personality?
Yeah.
But he's always, like, really not that serious. I mean, he gives a good, I would say, decent answer, or a great answer in most cases, but he always adds in the element of humor and, like, laughter, which I think is great because at the end, there's no need to take anything seriously, right? And, yeah, any other thoughts?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and I want to thank you all so much for watching, taking this time. Would love to hear your honest views and thoughts about what I've shared, what Ellen has shared, or what Sadhguru has shared. It's a completely open platform, so whether you agree, disagree, does not matter. Share your views in the comments down below. Also, if you have any other video reaction requests, you can also comment down below. And with that, make a great day, take it joyful, and stay conscious. Awesome job. You did great.
Thank you.
Awesome.